Here's a jaw-dropping development that nobody saw coming. The White House just asked OpenAI to pump the brakes on releasing its new AI model. Not banned, not blocked, asked. And the fact that the government felt it had to step in tells you everything about how nervous everyone's gotten over AI safety. This happened on June 25th, when reports surfaced that the White House contacted OpenAI privately, worried the new model could unlock capabilities that might be dangerous if released too quickly. Think of it like a movie studio telling a director to slow down on a film's release because they are concerned audiences aren't ready for what's in it. OpenAI's been on this wild release cycle where they ship new versions every few months. GPT-4, GPT-4 Turbo, GPT-4o, each one more capable than the last. So when the White House goes public with concerns, it signals something's shifted. We're no longer in a world where tech companies can just ship whatever they build as fast as they want. The twist: OpenAI hasn't confirmed exactly what the new model can do or what specific risks the White House flagged. It's all happening behind closed doors. So here's what's actually happening on the inside and why it matters for literally everyone who uses AI. And here's where it gets interesting. To understand why the White House felt the need to intervene, you've got to look at OpenAI's release history. This company's been moving at breakneck speed. ChatGPT launched in November 2022 and hit 100 million users in 2 months, the fastest adoption of any consumer software ever built. Since then, GPT-4, GPT-4 Turbo, GPT-4o, each one released with capabilities that left competitors scrambling. The pattern's always been announce, ship, iterate. Every few months, a new model. Every release, new capabilities nobody fully anticipated. It's like a company building faster cars without waiting to see if existing roads can handle them safely. Meanwhile, governments worldwide have been watching. The European Union's already rolled out the AI Act with strict regulations on high-risk systems. The United States has been slower to formalize rules, but the Biden administration's been pushing hard for guardrails. So when the White House hears that OpenAI's about to ship something new with undisclosed capabilities, alarm bells go off. The stakes are concrete and personal for government. These models can generate convincing misinformation, manipulate information at scale, and create content that could interfere in elections. A powerful new model released without proper vetting could cause real damage before anyone even realizes it happened. But here's what most coverage gets wrong. So what exactly is the White House worried about? The TechCrunch report doesn't spell out every specific capability, but we can look at the pattern of what's made regulators nervous before. Previous models have shown concerning abilities. They can bypass content filters if you know the right tricks. They can write sophisticated phishing emails. They can help with certain types of cyber attacks if someone's determined enough. A more capable model means all those abilities get amplified. Imagine a model that's smarter at reasoning, faster at generating code, and better at mimicking human writing styles. In the wrong hands, or even in normal hands without proper safeguards, that's a serious problem. There's also the issue of emergence, capabilities that nobody expected to appear. OpenAI's models have surprised researchers before, abilities just showing up in newer versions that nobody anticipated during training. So when you're about to release a more powerful model, you genuinely don't know what it might be capable of until it's already out in the wild. Think of it like releasing a new chemical formula without fully testing what happens when it interacts with other substances. You think you know the risks, but complex systems surprise you. The White House is essentially saying we need to pause and make sure we've thought through the implications before releasing this into the world. That's a bigger change than it sounds. This is where it gets complicated. Let's get concrete about what could go wrong. Imagine a more powerful AI model that's exceptional at social engineering, crafting emails and messages that are almost impossible to distinguish from legitimate ones. A bank gets flooded with thousands of perfect phishing emails targeting employees. Attackers use the model to extract access credentials at scale. Or consider this scenario, a model that's better at generating misinformation. Someone uses it to create a coordinated disinformation campaign across multiple languages right before an election. The model generates subtle variations that spread through social networks faster than fact-checkers can respond. There's also the synthetic media angle. A more capable model could generate convincing deepfake audio and video more easily. Imagine politicians' voices saying things they never said, with deepfakes that pass casual inspection. The damage to trust happens before anyone can verify what's real. None of these are science fiction. We've seen earlier versions of these problems with less advanced models. Now scale that up to something more powerful, and the White House is asking, do we know how to mitigate these risks before releasing it? The counterargument's easy to anticipate. OpenAI would say they've implemented safeguards, they've tested extensively, they are confident in the model's safety. But the White House's position is effectively, prove it, and give us time to verify before you release it to the public. And that's just the beginning. This moment is actually a turning point in how governments handle AI. For years, the tech industry has moved fast and broken things. That's been the mantra. Ship first, fix problems later. But we are seeing a change toward a different model. Verify first, ship second. The European Union's already ahead on this with their AI Act, which requires high-risk AI systems to be tested and documented before release. It's stricter, slower, more bureaucratic, but it's explicit regulation backed by law. The White House's request to OpenAI is softer, less formal, more of a handshake agreement, but it signals the same direction. Compare this to how pharmaceuticals work. Before a new drug gets released to the public, it goes through years of clinical trials. The FDA doesn't just trust the company's word, they require evidence that the drug is safe and effective. Nobody thinks that's unreasonable for medicine, but AI's been operating in the Wild West for years. The interesting tension here is that OpenAI isn't legally required to slow down. This is a request, not a mandate, yet the company seems to be taking it seriously enough that it surfaced in the press. That tells you something about how much pressure governments can now apply, even without formal regulation. Other AI companies are watching closely. If OpenAI agrees to slow-roll the release, it sets a precedent. If they push back, it signals that even White House requests can be ignored. Here's what the real story is underneath. What we're actually seeing is the end of an era. For the last 3 years, OpenAI's operated more or less unconstrained. They decide when to release, they decide how, and governments have had to catch up afterward. Now the dynamic's starting to flip. Governments are getting involved earlier, asking questions before products ship, demanding more transparency about capabilities and risks. This is huge for the entire AI industry. Every major lab, Google, Anthropic, Meta, Mistral is watching what happens with OpenAI. If the White House can request delays and be taken seriously, then every company's wondering if they are next. It creates pressure to build safety practices proactively rather than reactively. The broader implication is that the age of move fast and break things in AI is ending. We're moving into an era where governments, companies, and researchers are trying to collaborate on safety before release. Is it perfect? No. But it's a meaningful change toward thinking about risks upfront. There's also a subtle message here about power. The White House isn't trying to ban OpenAI or punish them. They're saying we need to think about this more carefully before it goes public. That's actually a pretty measured approach. It's not aggressive regulation, it's thoughtful pushback. The risk is that this could slow innovation. Some argue that moving slower means competitors in other countries could gain advantage. Others say that the risks of a capabilities race outweigh the benefits of speed. That's the genuine trade-off we are facing. But here's what matters most for you right now. If you're building with AI or deploying it in your organization, here's what you should be thinking about right now. First, audit your AI usage. Where are you actually using models? What tasks are they handling? What could go wrong if they behaved unexpectedly? Second, implement your own safety checks before trusting a model's output. Don't assume that because it came from OpenAI or any other company that it's guaranteed safe. Test edge cases. Try to break it. See where it fails. For things that matter, customer-facing applications, security decisions, content moderation, implement human review loops. Third, stay updated on model capabilities and limitations. OpenAI publishes reports on their model's weaknesses. Anthropic does the same. Read them. Understand what your tools can and can't do responsibly. A model's not a magic solution, it's a tool with specific strengths and blind spots. Fourth, build in versioning and rollback capability. When you deploy a new model in your system, you need the ability to roll back to a previous version if something goes wrong. Don't paint yourself into a corner where you're stuck with a version that's causing problems. Finally, participate in the conversation about AI safety in your industry. If you're using these models, you have a stake in how they are developed and deployed. Companies listen when customers demand safety practices. These aren't optional extras. They are baseline practices that separate responsible deployment from reckless deployment. So what should you actually do starting today? Here's what this moment actually means for you. The days of treating AI as a black box tool that you don't have to think about are over. Whether you're a company using AI internally or someone building products with AI at the core, you now have a responsibility to think seriously about safety and risk. The White House asking OpenAI to slow down isn't about stopping progress. It's about making sure we think through the consequences before we ship something powerful into the world. That mindset should inform how everyone in the industry operates. Watch for 3 things in the coming weeks. First, how does OpenAI actually respond to the White House's request? Do they delay the release? Second, what will the actual new model be capable of? And was the White House's caution justified? Third, do other companies start getting similar requests from government? This is a pivotal moment. We are transitioning from an era where tech moves fast and breaks things to an era where we are trying to think through consequences before release. It's slower, it's more cautious, but it's necessary. The AI revolution isn't stopping, it's just maturing. And maturity means thinking about what could go wrong before you ship to millions of people. Follow for daily updates on AI developments, because moments like this one are changing how the entire industry operates. You definitely don't want to miss what comes next.